What up, nerds, and welcome to another bedazzled episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 503, recorded on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. Tonight, we're talking about another Patreon pick. This was chosen by Vince, and the movie is Wild Men from 2017. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy, Rand Deasy.
Be prepared to be bedazzled.
How's it going, buddy? It's ready to talk about some fucking big feet in this shit.
I love huge feet. Gigantic feet.
I know, man. I know. I've seen your profile.
I don't know what profile you're talking about.
Oh, you know what profile I'm
Oh, my
talking about.
God. Oh, no. Soju is out for this week because he's simply not wild enough. He's just too vanilla for this show, I think.
Yeah.
Boring.
Can't hang. Can't do it.
You can't do it, man. You know?
But you know who...
He's one of those weak motherfuckers.
He's just so weak. You're weak. Picking up his slack, we have potentially the wildest man that I know. Everybody, welcome back to the show. Matt! What's up, Matt?
What's going on, guys? I got I got my feet nice and oiled up for you. So
All right.
God.
This is a man who
Show
knows
off
how to
slippery
enter
and right.
someone's home
God.
here, you know? You came correct. I'm going to give it to you.
My floors are just...
correct or erect?
I mean...
Yes.
Yes.
The jury's still out on that one, I'll tell you that much.
Yes. Thanks
All
for
right.
joining us again, Matt. You are a bit of a master swordsman, a swordsmith. You know your way around huge steel
Bit
objects.
of a sword nut.
Yeah. Sword nut. Let's go with that. The swordsmith is the guy who makes them.
Oh, yeah.
Swordsman is the guy who wields them.
You're a swordsman.
Fucking idiot.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you teach people how to kill other people with swords, and also you talk about them on a podcast.
That's true. I do both those things. I have a sword club in Jacksonville, Florida. It's called Bold City Longsword. We teach historical martial arts. We learned from Yoakum Meyer's Art of Combat that was written in 1570. And then I have a podcast in theory. It hasn't had an episode in a year and a half, but it's called Swords in Stereo. And we talk about sword fighting and we make lots and lots of inappropriate adult jokes. So if that's what you like.
It does
It's not
sound
even
like
inappropriate.
you're compensating, long sword.
Yeah, well, you need two hands, man. You need two hands to wield this thing.
Okay.
God damn.
Could you kill a Bigfoot with a sword, do you think? If you can?
I'm pretty sure I could, yeah.
Yeah, like easily?
Oh,
like
fuck.
not even...
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, if I don't know if I could fight a gorilla with a sword,
Ooh, yeah.
but probably a bonobo going down. It's going down.
Oh, God, yes. Come with me.
That's a movie I want to see. Matt versus Bigfoot.
Matt versus Bonobo.
Bonobo.
We don't got that kind of budget.
Yeah, not yet, buddy. Not yet. We're recording this episode in advance. This is going to be dropping on November 20th, as we have the schedule set right now. And so we're not really going to be doing much housekeeping. The December poll should be posted, whatever that may be. Get your votes in before the end of November, and we'll see what we're talking about in December. There's mini casts, whatever they are. They're probably really super cool, and thanks to everybody that has signed up on Patreon.
Probably.
Thousands of you. Thank you for doing that. Millions. We appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Yeah, this is like right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Bigfoot just kind of makes sense for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
yeah.
election week. So this will be a nice cherry on
Oh,
top.
my God.
Purely and simply evil.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Cool. Well, yeah, we're going to be skipping housekeeping like I mentioned, but we are going to be kicking things off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
I don't have this box.
Bob.
I don't know if it exists. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think a box of this exists except for, I don't know what the master box.
The The master box.
The master
Pretty sure
tapes.
that one guy in this movie has a box.
You're right.
know?
Wild Men from 2017. There's a bunch of movies called Wild Men. Don't watch the wrong one. You want the one from 2017,
You want the harder to find one.
which is on Tubi currently, and
On
maybe,
Tubi,
maybe
yes.
it'll still be on there in November. We'll see.
Yeah.
This is rated TVMA? Question mark. This was made for TV. Maybe I missed that. Runtime of an hour and 30 minutes. Written and directed by Bobby Sansevero. Stars Zach Abramowitz, Alexander Stein, Aaron Ann McDonald, some other folks. Giant ass Bigfoot. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. The inept cast and crew of a surprise hit reality TV show travel deep into the Adirondack Mountains for their second season to find proof that Bigfoot exists. Any remaining skepticism they have is ripped to pieces. Gentlemen,
Hot damn.
how many times have you seen Wild Men? I know it's like in the thousands, right? Probably.
I mean, I don't have that many fingers, but I'm gonna go ahead and say 0. Never seen this before. Actually made graphics for this episode that were the wrong movie. So definitely was not familiar with this movie in the least. Very, very new to me.
Do it again.
Would I recommend it?
Would you?
Nah. Nah.
No. Right on. Matt.
It's a nah.
Matt, what about you, man?
No, I had never heard of this movie, and I kind of wish it was still that way.
God damn.
That's bullshit luck. Bullshit luck.
Yeah,
Bob, how about you?
same boat. Really, I didn't know this existed. I'd never heard of it before. Went in with an open heart and an open mind because, you know, we're bits of cryptid nuts around these parts, as we have said.
I am a small bit of a cryptid nut.
Just a tiny little chunk of a cryptid nut.
Just a little sliver of one.
And man, this movie was a bit of a slog to get through. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It has its moments. It has some things going on about it that we'll get into, but yeah, it's not one that I could comfortably recommend to somebody unless they are like really, really into like silly low budget found footage or cryptid stuff, which I am, but I have limits.
I will say, we followed this movie up with Bigfoot Monster Mystery, and that did help it out. It kind of smoothed out some of those rough edges in my brain afterwards, but
Nice.
not that.
Well, you finally heard a proper Bigfoot call. There we go. That's the stuff.
Impossible to be duplicated by a human being, of course.
Much like Bigfoot himself, that film is perfect comedy without trying.
Yeah.
And this one is, man, it's trying.
This that sounds like not a recommendation from us here at Straight Chilling, kind of across the board there.
You dirty bitch!
Sorry, Vince. Hate to do it to
Yep.
you. But yeah, it's a rough one. We are going to be spoiling Wild Men, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, you got the plot synopsis? Yes. Yes, I do. That man asked me so many fucking questions. I forget what, when he's gone, you realize you're like, oh man, he's always asking me shit.
He's
all the
a
time.
prompter. He prompts, he prods,
God.
I'm just gonna let you go, baby. I'm a fun dad, I'm gonna let you do what you want. You want ice cream for dinner, baby? It's yours. It's all yours.
I love it when you call me baby and feed me ice cream.
I know you do.
It's plum off.
All right, I got the plot typed up here. Let's go ahead and get into it. Wild Men is a reality TV show where 3 hosts hunt for Bigfoot in the woods. Their first season was met with rave reviews, and they're gearing up to make season 2, in which the leader and creator of the show, Dick Heffelfinger, vows to capture footage of a real-life Bigfoot. The other 2 hosts are his brother Yappy and a biologist named Sally. They set out with a film crew and a tracker to upstate New York and they interview some locals in a small town about Bigfoot sightings. It's known to be a hotbed, and they're about to go deep into the woods. Unbeknownst to Dick, his crew plots to shoot their own behind-the-scenes footage in which they talk shit about Dick. They trick him into thinking they find a Bigfoot shelter, and they overall just expose him for the pompous fraud that he is. They eventually find a huge shit in the woods that nobody can explain. One of the crew members, Paul, mysteriously vanishes for days. Another crew member, Dennis, gets skinned alive and hung in the trees. They plan to head back to town after this, but Dick actually leads them deeper into the woods. They end up finding a cave they believe is Bigfoot sanctuary. But they find some Bigfoot essence and rub it all over Dick to help camouflage him. Bigfoot shows up, rips people's arms off, crushes some heads. They eventually are able to spear and kill Bigfoot, but Dick is hit in the head before all this, and he does eventually die. But he tells them to look in his back pocket. They do, and they find his will, which says to watch a tape that he's previously recorded. And on the tape, it says they need to continue making the show in his absence. And the crew does indeed start up a new spin-off show called Killing Bigfoot. Roll them credits.
All right.
There you go.
Boy, where to start?
Well, they tell you what type of movie this is going to be, like, right out the gate. So, like...
That's true.
So if you sit there and watch it, it's your fault. All right? Because they let you know.
It's true. But, like, here's the thing is, like, yes and no. Because, like, what this movie is it's kind of a parody of, like, your ghost hunters, your Bigfoot, like, not cable access, but cable shows that are just there to, like, fill time and garner views based on, like, dumb teases and, like, trickery for the most part. And on that level, I kind of love the conceit of this movie. The trouble is in just about everything else about it for me. So like it starts to like it starts off with like an interview with Dick. Dick is being interviewed by, I don't know, some news reporter, and it's a very like fluffy interview for him, but he's still being such a fucking dick. So like you also very clearly, to your point, get that it is a non-serious movie, isn't it? It's a comedy, you know, and it's
like a satire almost to a fault.
It's trying to be.
Yes,
it's trying to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in like naming the main character Dick is like I can't wrap my head around. Is that super clever or is that just super lazy? I think it's both.
Dick and well, the thing is, like, they also have a character named Yappy, and they say, "Why are you calling that? Oh, have you talked to him? He never shuts the fuck up." And it's like, okay, so what? I don't know. It just seems like they've got two characters. Both of the main characters are named after their defining traits. One is a fucking huge dickhead. The other is talks too much, and they only call one of them out. So it's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a joke that he doesn't get that his own name does the same thing or what. But it just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's just weird.
Well, I thought they added Yappy in because it's supposed to be found footage. And one of the big critiques about found footage is like, why is everyone narrating everything that's going on? And right out the gate, they say, we're going to have a character that does this, and we are explaining it right now so you don't question it later.
Yeah. You might be giving them too much credit, Matt. I don't know.
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like, yes and no, though, because, like, it's also the conceit of it is a show, so you would talk at the camera. Like they fill hours, like seasons of shows with people talking at the camera and saying like just nonsense mostly, and then you know referring to some like dumb recording or something that they've rigged up or whatever to make you tease you to through the next commercial break. So I don't know if they needed that so much, but I think they're just trying to make an outright like straight up comedic character. Not one that's just like supposed to be funny by being a prick, and not one that's supposed to be the beleaguered straight person, which is Sally.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about it is like there's just so many fucking characters. Am I wrong about that?
There's so many. I can remember 4 names maybe. I don't know. Like I don't know what they're doing with Yappy's character. It's like they're trying to make him like a country bumpkin type person, I think, the way he talks, but then he's got this like early 2000s like swoopy haircut and like this goofy trucker hat. It's like he's country but not really at all. It's like they have not met a country person or like it. I don't know. The character
interesting.
just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I wish they would have just like gone straight with him and made him say goofy shit like as a straight like actual like grounded country person. I think that humor would have landed a lot better. It's this weird contradictory character that I don't really get.
He seems like some frat boy trying to be Ashton Kutcher. You know, like
Maybe.
Yeah, that's more true to me. Like you saying, I don't get country from him at all. Like I never got even an inkling of that.
Really, his accent didn't make you think of a country bumpkin
Not
at all.
really, no. I think he was just trying to be like, I think like an idiotic like nerd, the nerd end of the frat pool. I think that makes sense. He's like just like a partier dimwit who talks too much, and I don't know what they're doing with his character either, though, for a lot of it, because it's like there's a subplot where he's sleeping with the producer's wife who's there for some reason.
So is Dick.
And then,
I think like she's banging them both, I think.
Is she?
I got confused about that myself, because at the first of the movie, she seems to be flirting with Dick.
Yeah.
And after that first third, like they make it clear that she's actually banging Yappy. And I don't know if that was a misunderstanding by me or just poor writing or both.
It wasn't just you, because I definitely had the same misunderstanding. And then like on top of that, she's also like the producer's wife, and there's some sort of like leverage over Yappy at one point. But like, I don't know, man. It's very, very confusing. Those are the characters that we can define. There's also those people and like the interns, and then one of the cameramen / production people, crew members, is like the person who wants to expose everything. And then there's the director who doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah. They set up this sort of like plot device where you think it's really going to build a lot of tension, where they're trying to like expose him as being like the douchebag fraudster that he really is. But like it never really amounts to anything. They kind of like film this stuff, and you see them setting up these gags behind the scenes, and he does look a little foolish, but like it doesn't amount to anything really. It just sort of like stretches the plot out.
Again, I think that's just a device so they can have a reason to film when they shouldn't be filming.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's behind the scenes footage, and this this dipshit wants to expose the other dipshit, so he's filming everybody.
That
like,
stuff
conspiring
is
or
so
whatever.
like unimportant. Like if you're comedy, like this is my opinion. This is like one of the least funny comedies I've seen in a long time. Like I am not remotely worried about like, wow, they're filming when they shouldn't be, or things like the mechanics of it. Like if the jokes aren't landing, like take care of that first, man. That's way more important, I think.
And speaking of characters, I think like at the halfway point, past the halfway point, a random EMT lady just starts talking next to the fire. Haven't seen the whole fucking movie.
She was at the
That
table.
happens a couple times.
At the beginning when they're like sitting around drinking at the very beginning, if you remember that. Because I remember seeing the hat and I was like, they got an EMT.
Yeah.
But she
I'm so glad she wore that hat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
at
her
least she
character.
had a
That
label.
was the character.
Hat lady. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's like 12 or 15 characters or something. Like there's
it's
a lot.
It's weird that they kind of go for like authenticity in terms of the number of people there, it seems like, but that doesn't help your movie. Like it might help people who know how that sort of production works.
The intern,
but it doesn't help your narrative.
And she's like,
there's the interns, two interns.
As far as the girl, I can't remember her name. As far as people to like root for, Kat, she's like the only one, and she's in this movie not a lot. She's like the only one that I could really find to like somewhat care about. Like everybody's just kind of an asshole in this.
Well, so you're talking about the PA, right?
Yes, the PA.
Yeah.
So I felt like I bonded with her because she didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there. She was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. She was remotely attractive. I was remotely attractive, and so like that's who I latched onto.
Sell yourself short, buddy.
I know.
But like it's like she's one of the easier characters to empathize with because she's a little bit of the fish out of water that we need to sort of immerse here, and like. Sally should be that, but she's just like pissy and like not in a like straight man kind of way where it's like it's not like Peter Venkman walking into a situation not really believing it and just sort of like rolling with it, and it's not like I don't know, it just kind of, it's not even like a like she's an unwilling participant. She's not listened to. She's talked down to, all that stuff, and that's all good for comedy. But I don't know what it is. Her performance just feels like inconsistent with itself, and that's true of most of these. I feel like this was apparently written in filmed in 13 days. I don't know how quickly it was written, but I feel like they had to have been in that 13 days
13
during the filming
hours
that they're writing things.
Yeah.
Like, because things are like weird. Like, people just show up. There's all like more characters. There's Roland, the supposed Native American guide who speaks Spanish and exclusively. And then there's
was that supposed to be another like funny thing? Like, they're so stupid, like a man with darker skin is just a Native American to them, and they don't.
I think that's supposed to be the gag, because that guy doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. He just, like, the biggest thing he sees is like a sign that says "Do not pass," and then I don't know. Like, he seems genuinely afraid, and he gets the fuck out or whatever, which is the thing that you would do if you were remotely familiar and you are in that role in a horror movie. But it seemed like they were kind of pointing him out as being like, no, this is just some guy with brown skin that they're calling a Native American tracker so that they can make their show.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was going on with him. It's, again, confusing. And then there's multiple cameramen. There's actually, no, this is the director, Alan. I'm looking at the character list on IMDb. There's Alan, the director. Then there's Elliot and Mark and Paul, who are, I believe, all cameramen, if I'm not mistaken. And that's all on top of
a giant crew to make this show. There's one scene when they're like about halfway through the movie, so they're supposed to be like deep in the woods, and Dick tries to sort of make amends for being such a prick to his crew, and he's like making small talk, and they're doing it over this like tent that is like, it's got this full catering spread. Like, I don't know who's catering in the middle of the fucking woods. They've got all these like tin trays just like full of meat and sides and
services.
shit.
That's what PAs and stuff do.
Yeah, but like, kind of shit up. What I mean, who's carrying pounds and pounds of food? Like, you know, it's
people do it. I don't know if they do it. I don't know if they do it on these shows normally or what. But like, I accept that as that's a blind spot for me a little bit. But on top of that, it's also like, I could chalk it up to, if it is something that's unusual, that's like way over the top, I just wouldn't know it. But if it is that, then it's probably because Dick is a dick and he's a prima donna piece of shit who thinks that he's God's gift to cable television. So
we got to get
makes sense for that character
driven into the middle of the woods.
It's amazing that these people even talk to this Dick character, because like
for real.
At the beginning, when they show this is season 2. When they show season 1, he literally squares up with the girl scientist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so he's about to fist fight her. And then later in the movie, he pulls a gun on like 3 people.
Yeah.
And like, they didn't just leave immediately. That's, you know.
They didn't leave immediately. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just, if it's supposed to be funny, it didn't land. And if it's supposed to be serious, it didn't work out. It didn't seem realistic. So like, it's just in this vague no man's land for me, where they don't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Most of the time, Matt and I, we watched this together, and like there was like, you can see the jokes whizzing by, and they're just like landing with such a thud. But there are instances like that where you're like not quite sure if it's supposed to be a joke. Where you're like, I don't, because everything before it is like so goofy and over the top that like for it to all of a sudden be serious, you're like, nah, that can't be serious, right? Like.
I get that too. Like, it's sometimes the jokes are so fucking obvious and like try hard. It's like one of my jokes. It sucks if you actually write it down and like portray it with actors. Every joke I've ever made would suck dick. It's terrible.
Yeah, but I think it's like it looked good on paper, and then the moment someone tried to actually do it with timing, it just did not work out.
That's the thing. The timing, the editing, all that stuff, like, it does not do it any favors. I feel like the comedic editing and timing are really, really off in a majority of this film. And some of that leads to some of that confusion. But also, when they do something that you could argue is a subtle joke, I kind of don't believe it, because the rest of the movie's so unsubtle. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really over the top with its style of humor. And I don't know. Some of the stuff, I mean, we've been ragging on this for a while. Some of the stuff does work out, and I think it's largely the practical effects of it. I think it takes a while
really
to get to the gore and stuff. and it is notably low budget, but I like that about it. Like I can totally accept some severed legs or like a skinned body or somebody getting beat over the head with their own arm in like a goofy way. All that stuff is fine for me, and it fits the tone of the movie. I think it worked out mostly well. The giant like 3-foot Bigfoot shit that they find in the middle of the woods, and the dude just digs his hands into it like
folded pile of saucers about a foot high.
Yeah. It's
precisely
that. I don't know, man. There, yes and no. Like the fucking the gore being like it's silly and it's meant to be humorous and it's like low budget can work for that or whatever. But it just, like that even that wasn't really hitting for me too much. And then there was things like the big plot point, quote unquote, where whatever the rebel cameraman convinces whoever it is to dress up in a Bigfoot costume that he had secretly smuggled in, and it was like they act like it looks very real, and it very, very plainly doesn't. And also was seen earlier in the movie as part of the production is clearly the exact same costume. I mean, just why continue writing it that way if you can only get one costume? It doesn't feel like funny bad. It doesn't feel like it's not like a Wet Hot American Summer like absurdist thing where like you hear a potted plant thing because it's like an unserious movie that's just reusing sound effects because it's so not serious about itself. No, this movie's like it's just not that clever with it, so it just kind of farts that out there, and I'm like, that's the exact same fucking terrible costume we saw before, but now they're acting like it looks real. They even made a joke about it not looking real before, but now it's supposed to look so real that a guy in broad daylight, no more than 6 feet away from this thing, is convinced it's the real thing. And I know he's the idiot character, but everyone's looking at this thing, even through binoculars and shit. And like that drove me fucking up the wall. I don't think that's not playing into a joke. That's just like sloppiness being that you were trying to write off as a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have like tried to hide it with clever camera work or lighting or something. It's like they didn't even try.
If they had just been like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like the word production value never came out of anyone's mouth.
I mean, if they wanted to do a joke with that, have him pop out, like the whole thing is that the scare falls flat ultimately. So just have Yappy be like, it's just a guy in our costume who's in there, and like immediately clock it. Even like Yappy, the idiotic character, is not that stupid in the context of the movie. Like he's not brain dead. He's seen this thing before. He was the one I think that was wrestling with it in the like legitimate part of the production earlier in the film. So he was physically touched this thing and dealt with it a number of times. But he's looking at the same thing again, and I don't see that as like them playing a joke. I don't think that's a joke for our benefit. I think that's just cheapness, and they didn't write around it. They just barreled right into it and made an inconsistency that isn't funny. That's unfortunate.
Maybe they were like assuming that people watching it at home after they make the show will believe it's somehow real, even though it looks so terrible. And
they didn't seem to be like I don't know, the behavior of everybody in that scene. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what they're going for, and I'm just not.
I don't know, because that's what I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. I guess like, is this supposed to be funny? I think most of the time it is, if not all the time. But I don't know. It's just it's very confusing,
different
because
kinds of humor.
Maybe. Them using the suit in multiple situations, it is confusing because it's serious and then not serious, and it's like I don't know how I'm supposed to take this exactly.
Right. You said it wears like.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No. I was gonna say you said that it was. You said that it was like it says what it is right up front. I'm like, that's why I'm like yes, but no, because I like you go into each individual moment of this movie can be completely inscrutable because it's like it's changing its comedic style or its intent with the wind, it feels like, and not in a way that makes it feel like, you know, it's a crazy DIY production thing. It just feels like just straight sloppy and not entertaining, you know?
How did
Sorry,
you feel
but go ahead.
about the Bigfoot at the end when it is at nighttime and sort of in the shadows and stuff?
It's an improvement. I mean, it was fine. I didn't care about the horror though. So like, that's the thing is like, I was not invested in that. And then it really, really like I could have been okay with it as a narrative thing, except they did that will thing with Dick. And I just like, I hated the will. I was like, so we're supposed to like feel sympathy for this guy now. Like, I know that we gave him an arc, but that doesn't mean we have to be emotional about that arc. This guy was about to shoot people. Like, this is a piece of shit. Like, straight up, top to bottom, everyone hates this man, especially Sally.
Yeah. He was on the road to commit sexual assault. I'm pretty sure. Like, there's no reason to like him.
Yeah, it's like he usually gets what he wants. Like they're doing like I like that line pretty much is what solidified Cat in my mind as somebody relatable, because like, okay, I understand the dynamics here. This is a Weinstein production assistant situation.
Even as
It's
he's
not good.
like dying after like before or after, I forget exactly the sequence of events, but he's like laying there bleeding out and he like reaches his hand out towards Cat and he's like, no Bigfoot will ever take my geisha away. And it's like, fuck
Dude,
this guy. Like, such an
that,
asshole.
I thought that was one of the funny lines in the movie. That was like,
really
the way he treats it. That's the only power dynamic, or the only dynamic in the movie that is consistent, and therefore some of the jokes land. And that's one of them that landed for me. I was like, okay, well, this guy sucks so bad. His dying breath is to call this fucking woman a geisha who barely knows him and can't stand him. Just I liked that. And then they kind of undercut it by making him immediately after that showing this will and testament where he's like, you know, you guys are actually the best. I was really hard on you, but you should keep the show going. And I'm like, no, you don't need that. Just have them be craven opportunists like they are and continue the show. And like, I don't know, they could have shown that, or shown like whatever's what will and testament is, and he's being a huge dick. And then they just like say, they watch it and they're like, okay, well, we can't show that. And so they recut it and make like a hilariously bad cut, like smash cuts to him saying something else entirely.
Yeah.
You know, or some bit, make it a bit, because this movie is
or
not
release
serious.
all the footage that they shot that he was unaware of and like have that mean something in some way, like, because it doesn't add up to much.
It's
really.
in the cut, like they said at the beginning, and one of the an early funny gag in this movie is like the opening crawl where it's like, this was the final footage of the show. We pieced it together and we edited it all together, and as a full production, there were production costs to consider, or something like that, like saying like, we did this because we need to make our money back. And like, I'm like, okay, that's great. It's showing off the cravenness of like reality TV filler bullshit. Like, lean more into that. I don't know.
Maybe they were trying to, you know,
maybe. Matt, you look like you've been trying to say something for like, I don't know.
Oh, no,
minutes, and
I was just
can't
going to say,
shut up.
like, I was expecting him to ask them not to continue with his show, like, let his show be his show and die with him.
That could have worked.
That would have been
And
funnier.
then they're like, yeah, sure.
And then immediately-
And then they just renamed the show. You know, like, it's a new show.
Touch my body of work. Yeah, like that. That's great.
One time I laughed. The only time I remember laughing out loud is when he pulled the two legs out of the tent. And they were just two giant balonies with PVC pipe in them. I was laughing to death. Dude's just holding two balonies, pretending they're legs.
I did like that. Although I will say that was straight up out of Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like 1000%, like the wood chipper scene. I don't know. Like it's not something we haven't seen before or anything. And I don't expect, like, at least it made the gag, at least the timing of it was right to where it was kind of funny though. Like, and you're like, okay, yeah, the cheapness of it kind of works here. I don't know. This movie couldn't decide if it wanted to be horror or comedy, and it kind of settled into both, into neither. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm down with a blend, but I just didn't find it funny.
Me too.
His dad, like the flashback he has at the very beginning of his dad, like leaning up against a tree with his legs being eaten off by a Bigfoot. That was like kind of funny, sort of.
Yeah. I didn't find it funny particularly. I found it to be like, you thought that was intentionally trying to be funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I guess I just didn't see that.
You bringing up Tucker and Dale actually is a good call, because I think this is what that movie was trying to be, and it just didn't land the mark at all. And only having 13 days is probably a huge part of that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, good for them, honestly. Like, I don't want to like completely rag on this, like, it's a small production. You know, they're putting things together on the fly. Obviously, it hits a level of sloppiness to where it doesn't seem clear to me what they're aiming at, and that's the real issue. So with Tucker and Dale, we knew what they were going for. They had a bigger budget, though. But also things like Dead Cam, not Dead Cam. It's not Dash Cam. It's the other one.
Oh fuck.
With the influencer in the house, who's like really fucking annoying. Anyway, like it's another found footage thing. I'm completely blanking on it. Deadstream.
I think they probably would have been better off if they had just made this a short.
Yeah, I totally agree. And trimmed out like 90% of the characters. Just have it focus on the three main people, and then like maybe the director or one other character or whatever, and have Kat there for that bit, because that bit is solid. And the rest can just kind of like, it's just filler. Like I don't need to see anything to do with the subterfuge that's happening, because it doesn't lead to anything comedic and it doesn't lead to anything scary. So what's it for?
Yeah, and them interviewing people like in New York and like whatever town that was. I don't know that really matters at all. It feels like a lot of bloat that just doesn't really pay off for much.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. And you know, the acting is wooden. I feel like they could have definitely. I feel like they were charging through so fast they just didn't get the proper takes they needed for things. Because I don't know, like some of these are like
my notes
pretty rough.
I literally write acting ! And then later I wrote yelling is acting !
Yelling is that's true. That's true. That's
I'm
that's what you
acting.
teach you at
God damn
Juilliard. Do you believe me now?
They have like 2 or 3 different like meetings where they go over the plans for the entire trip. I think there's 2, because they do one in the town and then they do another one when they get to the cabin, and it's like I don't want to sit in your meeting. I don't care. Like just show me the stuff. I don't need to hear and he says it actually when he's being interviewed. He pretty much lays out the whole plan there too. It just feels redundant, and you're like, oh my god, like I know what the plan is. I got it down.
Like they were so concerned about filling in time so they could be a full-length movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like if they had not done as much behind the scenes stuff and it instead like hilariously like faked things for the show in hilarious ways more, like done more of that, done more like not commentary, but like jabs at the real life stuff that this movie's supposed to be mocking. Like, I think that would have been better. I wish they could have, like, that's a pretty solid joke that you can make a lot of hay out of. You could really take this thing like, oh, they're faking it or whatever. Like, what is the name of that found footage film where they're in the haunted asylum or whatever it is? Ghost Encounters or something? Like, it's a franchise. Have you guys seen that?
No, I don't. I'm not sure what that is.
Well, anyway, it's kind of the same thing where it's like got like kind of a dickhead host or whatever, but that one plays it more straight and it's more successful because it's going more for scares and it knows that about itself. This doesn't really go for scares really, and when it does, it's very not. And then it also like doesn't really bring a lot of heat to the core conceit, which is a bunch of fraudsters finding out that they're actually on the trail of something. You know, I feel like the premise is good. The premise is solid. It's just not executed well, is my feeling. I guess that's what I'm circling. Which might as well be a review.
Yeah. The idea of like the Bigfoot essence, I was like,
what the fuck?
Intrigued by that because it seemed like an original idea as far as I know. Like I never heard of that before, like the essence. And it's like this green slime they find in the cave. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it's just another sort of thread that doesn't amount to anything because they smear it all over Dick. And then they all just get mauled by Bigfoot. Like it doesn't seem to matter at all. But it was.
I think that's supposed to be the joke.
Was intriguing.
Though.
Maybe. Yeah. But god damn,
Here's
It
the
wasn't
thing.
funny.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Matt. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I was just saying, like I think it was just another joke they shoved in there. Like we're gonna rub slime on his face, and he's gonna take it super seriously. Isn't this funny? And then it doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is the joke, and I honestly think that's a fair bit. It's just again not executed well. Like they spend too long smearing him and like making a big show out of that. And also the fact that it's like green slime that clearly is like, it's not natural. Like it's clear, like it looks like toxic waste from the Toxic Avenger. It doesn't look like a real anything. It looks like gack or something.
Yeah.
And so like, and calling it the essence, I think they missed a funny gag where they could have been like, oh, we'll rub his essence on us. And it's like,
Shit.
It's like vomit or puke or cum or something
God
disgusting.
damn.
Like
Bigfoot jizz.
if you want laughs, at least go, like you can go to low hanging fruit. At that point in the movie, I'll take anything.
Yeah.
And then you like rub this. He's like, oh God, I'm gonna have to coat myself in the scent and be like kind of upset about it. And he's like, no, I'm gonna do it. And then he smears him on. And then like right behind him, which is what happens, right behind them, like just in the background of the camera,
I mean,
another red shirt gets picked off. And I'm like,
he already stuck his nose
Like,
in a turd.
Yeah.
So like, you're like,
right.
So like that they're not
surprised he
too
didn't
high to
make
do that
the
kind of
yappy.
humor, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
He's sniffing turds. Like if they had made Yappy do that, it would have made sense for the character dynamic and all that stuff, and also would have made Dick seem like a coward or whatever, which he is just demonstrably in this movie. But all of a sudden, he makes the hero play at the end of the movie and leaves a loving, warm, fucking last will. When did he make this will video and why? Like I don't fucking understand. I guess he made it like the night before. I don't know, man. It's confusing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And why do they have so many guns? Are they there to film Bigfoot or kill him?
Well, they sure can't kill him. Like the only person who even tries to get a shot off uses the shotgun and doesn't know how it works or it's not loaded or something. It just doesn't go off.
They do
And then they
spear
immediately
him
die.
to death, I believe. I think they do actually kill him.
Actually, yeah, and that's Sally that spears him.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. Like,
Cool.
I kind of like I think that like where it starts and where it ends in terms of the characters, minus where Dick ends, is all right. Like, have these characters like kind of come to have Sally, who's like the skeptic and very pissed off and whatever, come around to understanding that, yeah, you know what? I am here for a grift too. I came here to make money off this. And even though this dickhead that used to employ me that got killed right in front of me, got murdered and is like to your idea, Matt, is telling me not to continue doing this. That's kind of what I'm here to do. I'm here to make money selling a con. You know what I mean? And so she continues the show. I think that's a more satisfying arc than what we got than making Dick the heroic figure in the end. That does not track to me at all.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to mention before we rate this thing?
Where's the drum set? Bigfoot likes drums.
They weren't
Dude,
entertaining
they should have
them.
brought
They don't even know what they're
That's the
doing.
problem.
Yeah.
They all would still be alive if someone had brought a drum set.
They're doing it all wrong.
They did bring their draft beer though, so
Did any of y'all think that the real Bigfoot at the end looked like Man Bear Pig from South Park?
I didn't, but I can see that now. that you
Yeah,
say it.
he gave him a pig nose. I was like, is that Man Bear Pig?
That's fucking great.
That outfit was definitely better. It looked like an actual film production level thing, not a great film production level, but it was, it was all right compared to the shitty costume that they were trying to sell as good earlier in the film. So
I also want to bring up two things I did think was good. Was the burnt man. I thought that was a really good effect. Or the skinless man, not the burnt man, the skinless body they found. I thought that looked really good, especially compared to everything else in the movie. And then the kills and gore at the end, I thought they did pretty well. Maybe even like to the point where they had saved up for all that, which is why everything else is lacking. Is maybe that ate up a lot of their budget and time, is doing that big scene at the end.
I could see that.
it might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair point. Let's go and rate this thing out of 5. Matt, kick us off, man. How do you feel?
Well, I can't say. I mean, like I watched this with friends, and that helped. I wish I was drunker and high, if I'm being honest. We followed it up with Bigfoot Monster Mystery or whatever the hell that was called. That helped too because that let me see what this movie could have been and made me a little more more forgiving. For I saw what they were trying to do more than what they actually did. All that being said, it's still like a solid 1 star.
Yeah.
Solid one star
that's fair.
from Matt. Randeezy, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of aired our grievances with this movie a little bit, but like I want to give it the proper credit of being like, this is a scrappy little production, and I don't want to like diminish anybody's, like attempts to make something, especially on a shoestring budget in 13 days or whatever. Got good on you for giving it a shot and taking a big swing here. And I think that there is a structure somewhere hidden underneath the fluff here that could really, really work as a horror comedy. I just don't think that their timing is right. I don't think the shots that they use are correct. I don't think that the pacing is on point. I don't think that it looks very good 99% of the time, and even for what it's going for, which is looking cheap. I don't know. It's got a lot of problems, but I do see like to a certain extent what a good movie that could exist here. And regardless, good on these folks for going out there and fucking trying their hand at it. I don't think I could do better, so I don't want to be too cruel about it. All that said, I'm going to give it a 1.5. I'm a little maybe more forgiving. I didn't watch it with anybody. It was just me, and it was a slog. But I really do love the premise, and I think that there's something salvageable here. Even if I didn't really get much of it in the end of the movie. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Bob, round us out.
Oh, hey. Yeah, this movie was not for me. Matt, we watched the movie together, and I think after it finished, you said something along the lines of, there's somebody's watching this and laughing their ass off, and like we're just not those people. It's just not for us. And I think that's fair to say. It's tough. Man, it's really tough to enjoy a comedy that you personally don't find very funny. And, different strokes for different folks, it just wasn't for me. The gore, I think I can get behind. The low budget stuff like that, I just generally am about. So, Bigfoot, I thought looked pretty decent at the end when he's ripping people's arms off and crushing heads and all that stuff. The essence was interesting. The dude just like digging into the pile of shit was funny. But there's just not a whole lot else in the first like half of this movie that I really enjoyed at all, if I'm being honest. Like I was on the struggle bus for sure. But like you said, Randy, this is definitely clearly someone's like labor of love, and they put a lot of work into it. And it is what it is, and I think a lot of folks out there definitely do enjoy it. And we'll hear from Vince here in a second and see what he has to say. But I'm kind of where you're at, Randy, with a 1.5 on this. Not for me, but that's going to put our aggregate at a 1.3. And as per usual, whenever you guys pick a flick for us to review on the show, we encourage you to send over either an email or a voicemail with your own thoughts and ratings. And Vince did send over an email. You got that, Randy?
I got that. Here we go. So yeah, this is a Wildman email from Vince, the lovely gentleman who chose this film for us. Thank you, Vince. Here we go. Hey, Straight Chilling crew. Thanks for taking the time to review the Citizen Kane of Bigfoot-themed found footage horror comedies, Wildman. I'm kidding, of course, but my wife and I do have a pretty serious amount of love for this movie. It's often a comfort watch for us, and we've seen it countless times. The fact that it was filmed in only 13 days and has some very smart/funny writing and jokes in it, crossed over with the found footage genre and the Bigfoot-themed reality show, just hits such a sweet spot for us. I'm happy to see this was back on Tubi for free during the week you picked to review, so hopefully everyone can check it out without needing to rent it or track it down otherwise. I hope that as well. The deadpan interview at the start sets the tone, and Zach Abramowitz does a great overall job. Great job as Dick, Captain. We didn't cover that. Captain, in his role of being the full of himself star of the show. The back and forth between Dick and Sally is pretty great throughout, with the two different viewpoints of a scientist arguing with a reality show host who's hell-bent on everything being proof, no matter how insignificant, and Sally coming around to the realization that there might actually be something here that could be real. Hopefully you mentioned seeing Theodore Boulikos as Professor Burl, who we all know from the Hill House franchise. I almost brought that up. He's the guy that they teleconference in, who's got the beard or whatever. Yeah. He's in, I think, all 3 of the Hell House movies as one of the talking heads as well. So he's just like got a good talking head and found footage racket going right now.
He's good the guy.
Anyway, he's the guy. Continuing. I could go on and on about this movie, but one of my favorite bits is the completely unrealistic Bigfoot costume / fight scene in front of the cabin with Yappy, where Dick refuses to refilm the scene and the producer says, we'll fix it in post. They actually did fix it in post, and an scene early in the movie during the first eyewitness interview, as the included dramatization is shown during the interview. There are a bunch of things like this in the movie, but not something you easily pick up on without multiple watches. A couple of favorite moments from the movie that make me laugh every time. Quote, "It's literally burning my nostrils right now," as Dick picks up Bigfoot scat they find in the forest. And then in the background, Yappy spits out the berries he's been eating after Sally says they're poisonous. I did like that bit. I liked this. Like, well, they shouldn't eat that. They're poisonous. He's like, it was pretty good. And the scene where Dick says, "Back up, Yap. I've been practicing a new call, and I don't want to get you pregnant," when he does the first night of Bigfoot calls in the woods. I think that's
your
a good
timing
line.
was better, Andy, saying that than it was in the movie.
That's the thing, is I kind of feel like it was a great line that was not the comedic timing wasn't right somehow. Thanks again for reviewing this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you hated it, please don't kick me off the Slack group. 3 stars for me overall. You're fired. 3 stars for me overall. 5 stars if I rated among the found footage Bigfoot reality show horror comedies. Okay. I'll be over here wearing my "We'll Fix It in Post" t-shirt and Gone Squatchin' trucker hat, listening to what you thought of this movie. Peace out and happy 500th episode. You guys have provided me countless of hours of entertainment and created a great little community that is really special to be a part of. Also, Randy for Randy. Vince. All right.
Did you add that? The Rand?
No, no.
Well, Vince, you're gone. Sorry, bud.
Everything. I feel like a dick now.
I know. I feel that way too. Every time we don't love a recommendation or whatever that somebody really Vince, you're living and dying by this movie, and God bless you for it. This movie needs to exist for somebody, and it sounds like it's for you and your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you found something that you like. I mean, I'm sure. I know there's not a lot of other movies out there with this type of humor, or if there are, I dodge them. So I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for picking this flick. Thanks for...
And, Eye of the Beholder, too. Like, for all we know, they did watch it very drunk and stoned. So maybe we're just missing the boat on the proper viewing environment.
Far too sober.
I'm not going to try it, but...
We got to go back. Do it again. Thanks for picking this flick. Thanks for hanging out with us in Slack. We'll let you hang out more, I guess.
Nobody gives a fuck.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see.
Certified.
See what's happening.
Oh. Yeah, let's see what's happening. This is our Rotten Tomatoes segment in which these gentlemen should be guessing what the aggregate positive score is for this film from critics and users. However, there's not one rating for this movie on RottenTomatoes.com. So we're going to have to go to some backup plans here. I'm going to go check out the Amazon.com customer reviews instead. And I'm going to have you gentlemen guess within the best of your abilities instead of the percentage of aggregate positive scores. We're going to find what star count out of 5 and, point whatever, that you want to put out there. Out of 5, how many stars do you think this averages out to based on customer reviews? And there are 57 global ratings for this film. So keep that in mind. I'm going to start with Bob on this one. Bob, what do you think is the average star count for this film on Amazon?
I think this is a very niche movie. I don't think it's going to be super high. I'm going to go with a 2.
A dose. All right. Well, Matt, you have the up, we have the down. What you going to go with? How you feeling?
Well,
on
based on this being Amazon, and then that makes me think people actually paid for this, which means they will probably be even more mad when they go to rate it. So I'm going to say it's a half star.
Half star. Okay. 0.5 out of 5. All right. Well, that makes, there's just the two of you. It makes my job very, very easy. Bob's going to take this one, but he wasn't particularly close. This is a 3.9 out of 5 on Amazon customer reviews. You did some good gaming out there, Matt, but I think you forgot one key thing, which is that people's family and friends all have access to Amazon, and there are only 57 reviews here.
Their stoned-ass cousin got on there and fucking loved it.
Yes, he did. So yeah, 3.9 out of 5. I'm going to read a couple. There's a couple of negative reviews. The breakdown is as such. There are 52% of the scores given are 5-star scores, which is what makes me think there's some folks with some skin in the game here. 18% gave it a 4-star, 9% gave it a 3-star, 8% gave it a 2-star, and 14% gave it a 1-star.
Damn.
So not that, like, if you take out the 5 stars, there's really very, very little here to go off of. There's like 24 ratings. So let's read some negative ones. Let's see. Here's one. This one says the word crap, uncapitalized, no period, 2 stars.
Didn't have time for the period. Just fucking crap.
At this point, we're straight up ripping off How Did This Get Made, by the way. They do the Amazon reading of negative reviews. So
it's
if
fine.
we weren't ripping them off before, we sure are now.
It's fine.
Sorry. Let's see. Okay. Here's one. If I could put a no star, I would. Don't waste your money. This sucks. Could not get through the first 10 minutes. It sucked. I love humor. I love spoofs. Don't be fooled by any ratings higher than 1 star. Don't wait. The title of it is Don't Waste Your Money. 1 star.
It sucks.
Said it sucks twice in all cap.
It sucks.
It sucks. And then we'll do one more time here. The name of this review, the title is After 3 Attempts, ... Based on the higher reviews, I have this movie the benefit of the doubt. I tried to watch this movie 3 separate times, but can never stomach it enough to make it all the way through. This movie is just awful. 1 star. So there you go.
Kept trying.
That's your not quite Rotten Tomatoes on Amazon.
You would think that the people who rate it also, like, they went and they watched the trailer, and then they're like, yeah, this looks good. I'll buy this. Mm-hmm. So, like, those people are already prone to like that type of movie, because most people just would watch the trailer and then run away.
Probably. And
That's
also, I think that what you said earlier about, like, they might have bought this, so they, I think that you think that would make them more susceptible to be angry at the result. But I think it's more confirmation bias, where they're like, well, I spent money on it and I hope I like it. And if they don't, they're just like, I guess that was not a waste of my $1, I guess. Maybe.
I don't want to look like a fool. I better give this 3 stars.
Yeah, I can't look like a fool on the Amazon.com review section. What will people say? My priest was watching. Yeah, that's it for what would have been Rotten Tomatoes segment. I don't believe we have much by way of trivia. So
no, there's really no trivia on this movie to be found, but I think we might have a Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the Week.
Matt What's a cooter? And why do we hunt them?
Well, a cooter is a straight chillin' exclusive, which means exclusive, because you can say the whole word if you want.
In case you forgot,
No.
Justin.
He's actually saying X dash loose.
Loose?
Which
loose.
is, yeah.
Extra loose.
Yeah. Extra loose. This is an extra loose designation.
A cooter is a type of character, and they have 5 points, and we want the cooter with the most points. The points are look and attire, sexual deviance, overall patheticness, manipulation, and smug arrogance. And you know what? When I judge cooters, I have a 6th point.
Shit.
Enjoyable demise. And I think that it really is the cherry on top for most cooters, because the whole point of a cooter,
We ain't scientists.
is you wait for them to come to some kind of unfriendly end. And that's what makes the whole point of the cooter being there, enjoyable.
Nice. Well done.
Not bad. Yeah. That's a good ghost point. You know, we've added points before, maybe.
You got the job, Matt.
Yeah.
We don't need Justin.
I think patheticness is kind of meant to address that, but that's more pointed.
Yeah. So I think this movie's probably got a few, but Dick is like King Cooter, right? I mean, he comes to top of mind.
Absolutely.
Manipulation, smug arrogance, out the ass. I mean, he's got two easily.
That's his defining characteristic.
Yeah. Sexual deviance. I mean, it looks like he's ready to do some not okay things with the PA. Like, he's well on his way. She's clearly uncomfortable being around him.
She was gorgeous.
He keeps grabbing her hand, and every time I look at her, that actress makes a great face, because I made the face too. I was like, gross. Ah.
Yeah. The grit face. Yeah.
I think he's
there's a
pathetic as hell too.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, making people call you captain is probably the most pathetic thing of it.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything that's like, it's like designating your own nickname is a fucking classic Cooter move. That's a George Costanza original, you know? Like, fucking just call me T-Bone. Like,
call me Captain
fucking,
Randy.
Yeah.
Captain Bob.
I won't do it. I will not
do
it. I'm not.
His attire.
I'm gonna call you the ass man.
That's also fine. His attire is okay, I guess. Was he wearing anything
He's
weird?
wearing normal clothes.
Yeah.
I will
He
say
smears essence on his fucking face. So
Beef.
who does it on a Friday night, though? I mean, really.
I mean, he's only human.
When
normal
there's
man.
a point where he asks the PA if she likes his bald head. That bothered me.
Yeah.
Being bald isn't cootery, but asking people if they like it, I think that crosses a line.
It wasn't even asking if she liked it. He gave her two choices, and they were both complimentary to him. I thought that was pretty funny, actually. That was pretty clever. Where she's like, "Do you think it makes me more rugged or just more handsome, or something like that?" Like,
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
that's pretty good gag, actually.
Yeah.
But as a character, that does not give me a lot of love for you, certainly.
He gets a fairly satisfactory death too. To touch on your point there, Matt.
Yeah.
I guess it could have been more satisfactory, but it's pretty. You're happy for him to shut the fuck up, no matter what.
I was happy for him to die. I don't think it was a satisfactory death to me, because
Yeah.
I wanted him to be like brutalized and whimper and moan like a Jeremiah Sand. Instead, he went out heroically, and I'm like, this guy doesn't deserve a hero's death. Fuck that. I don't know. So I don't think I'd give him the ghost point myself.
Oh yeah. I think Yappy is also pretty big cooter.
God, yeah.
Oh yeah, hit me with it.
Looking attire.
Check.
He's wearing that bounty hunter hoodie. He's wearing a fucking Boba Fett hoodie. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
He's pretty pathetic, because they make it clear that the only reason he's there is because Dick's his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they allude. Well, I never quite figured it out that he's sleeping with the girl Dick's sleeping with. So like, and his boss's wife. So like, there's just a lot of manipulation and sexual deviance in that weird triangle there.
Yeah,
because I think if anyone found out, if any other person found out, they wouldn't be cool with it.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
They're trying to make him like a goofus character, but like I don't know. I think that he hits some points for sure. I'm still not totally convinced or clear what the sexual situation is, but he's definitely at least cheating, helping her cheat on her husband at bare minimum.
Yeah, at least
is cootery,
if not more.
Which is kind of cootery on her part because she's like manipulating her employee.
Oh yeah, she's pretty terrible too. She could probably stand a day in Cooter court.
He's what else we got? Pathetic.
Yeah.
And arrogant.
He couldn't do that line read.
God,
he couldn't do that line read. Like talking is his defining trait, and he couldn't do a line read at the beginning of the thing. And Sally had to do it, and they made a bit out of it, which was kind of funny, but like counter to his character. So I didn't really love that.
He doesn't die,
but
so we can't really give him that.
Doesn't die, no.
So I mean, yeah, it runs in the family. I think we got brother Cooters.
All right, I think we just lock those up because if we keep going like this, we'll just hit everybody in the cast and who has the stupid time.
Yappy and Dick, we got them. Lock them up.
Nothing worse than a yappy cooter.
Yeah, we got a yappy cooter and we got a dick cooter.
Dick cooter. Yeah, they're both pretty bad.
They're all part of the family.
Boys, we did our work. Now it's playtime. Let's talk about what we've been watching.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Oh yeah, Matt, what you been watching?
Oh man, I've been getting into the Halloween spirit some.
It's November, Matt. What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Oh no,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's only 11 months.
I threw on a new horror movie I had never heard of before, a werewolf movie called Howl. And if you haven't heard of it, the premise is there's a red-eye train in England. I think it's going from England to Scotland, and the train hits a werewolf, and the werewolf does not like being hit by a train. That's the premise of the movie. And it wasn't good, but it was fun. I had fun watching it. But they were working with a limited budget too. But it was very much like a bottle set because you could tell they had a train. And so like we're shooting the movie on this train. This is where we're at. We're gonna be here for a while. Buckle up. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I'll probably watch it again one night when I have a couple beers in me.
When I have a couple beers in me.
I finally watched the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking of Peanut Butter Solution. Okay. I was excited.
Very different.
I waited on this movie because I don't like Shia LaBeouf or however you say his name. It's him and the girl from Madam Web and 50 Shades of Grey. And it's about a boy who has Down syndrome and he's like 22 and he has no family. And the state doesn't have anywhere to put him, so they put him in an old folks home and he hates it. So he breaks out to go find a professional wrestling school. And he meets Shia LaBeouf and they get on a raft and they're going down the coast of the Carolinas. And halfway through the movie, I realized this is just fucking Huckleberry Finn. They're just remaking Huckleberry Finn, and it was actually really good. And I would recommend you go ahead and watch it if you get the chance.
I haven't seen that one. I actually didn't know any of that, but I thought reasonably good things about it.
Yeah, like I rated it really high on my QuickBooks or whatever the fuck you rate stuff on.
Letterboxd?
Yeah,
you're writing this one off.
Letterboxd.
This one's tax deductible, people. Get on it.
I went in the theater. I watched Blink twice. I really enjoyed it. Some people in the Slack did not enjoy it, but I thought it was really good. Basically, a ultra rich guy played by Channing Tatum takes these two waitresses to his private island after a fundraiser. That's how the movie starts, and then timey-wimey shit starts happening. And I thought they did it really well, especially the editing for the timey-wimey stuff. I'm actually really looking forward to going back and watching that movie again and seeing what crazy shit I missed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
On Hulu, there's a documentary called Hell Satan ?
Yeah.
It's about it's about the Satanic Temple that started in 2013 and just how they accidentally became a church because they were trolling Rick Scott. And it's amazing. I watched it last month, and then I've went back and I've watched like certain clips of it here and there, like every other day, pretty much. It's really good. If you're a fan of religion or politics, it's really good. It gives you stuff to think about. And because this is the future, right now I'm really looking forward to Salem's Lot coming out October 3rd. But I've probably already watched this on November 20th, so I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I liked it.
Now, okay,
Wow.
yeah, we'll compare notes with this later.
Good for you, man. That trailer, I don't know about that trailer, dude.
I love the
like
book.
any trailer,
Yeah.
Bob.
Well,
Why are you watching trailers, Bob? Jeez, I thought you learned your lesson.
Dude, when the Salem's Lot trailer dropped, I was like, yeah, I'm watching this shit because I already think it's gonna be bad, and it doesn't look good in the trailer. But I don't know, we'll see.
I'm hoping they learned their lessons from the new Stan show.
Yeah. Well,
but we'll see.
this movie was made like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just been like lingering. Like they don't know what to do with it. They was supposed to go to theaters, and it didn't.
Like an undead vampire in the coffin, Bob.
Oh,
Just like that.
That's right,
man.
It aged like a fine wine or a fine vampire.
Randy, what have you been watching?
There you go.
That's a great question. Well, not a ton since yesterday's recording that we did, since we're doing this well in advance, but I have watched a couple things. I rewatched, and I've brought this up before, a short called Opal by Jack Stauber that was an Adult Swim late night sort of thing. It's a sort of claymation-y multimedia music thing. I brought it up before. It's very fucking good. It's very, very moody. It's a great thing to throw on by yourself in the dark late at night when you're just a little bit too tired to be watching TV. It'll put a fire in your bunghole. It's a weird little thing that hits like a ton of bricks once you get to the end. I think. Your mileage may vary. It's an oddball piece for sure. It's very, very much a singular voice from this guy Jack Stauber, who is like an animator and musician and stuff, and he kind of pulls all the stops here. I recommend it. It's something like 15 minutes long or something, and then it's on YouTube. It's great. I wish I could I might bring it up again in an episode that's going to air before Halloween, because it's probably pretty fun for Halloween too. I like shorts for Halloween. Also, as of recording, Red Letter Media, who is like big YouTube film reviewers, kind of dicks, but very, very fun and very incisive commentary. I like them. Red Letter Media has just released something called Red Letter Media Investigates Paranormal Investigations. And I think it's the first part of a two-parter, maybe, where one of the hosts, who is something of a ghost believer, who is a big
Ghost
fan of
nut.
like Zach Baggins. He's a bit of a ghost nut. They decide they're going to test the equipment that is used on shows like Ghost Encounters or Ghost Adventures and those sort of things or whatever for themselves, and on a scientific level figure out just what's going on with these shows or whatever. And it's very, very open to being critical at those shows, but without saying that, saying like, well, not that specific show, and that's no specific show. We're not saying anything's faked. We're just seeing, what sounds come up on this EVP, that we can extract and maybe find words in or whatever. And they don't get quite to that part. It's all the prep work for that. So they're kind of like defining the rules. Anyway, long story short is it's very fun. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I'm excited to see the second half of it. They're just basically like scrutinizing the reality show ghost hunting thing, which has like 12 seasons and like 250 shows. And somehow week after week, they keep getting ghosts to say things like, "Get out," in their fucking recorders and shit.
It's real, Randy. It's all real.
It's real.
I
That's
watched
the only
that
conclusion
today
you can
too, And like, I didn't realize it was a 2-part situation. I kept waiting for them to go to the fucking haunted house and like do the ghost hunting. And it's like an hour long, and then it ended, and I was like, what the fuck? Like they never did the hunting. Like,
once they got to like the 30-minute mark, I was like, there's no way these guys are just going to talk for another hour.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Maybe a little stretched out, but I enjoyed it overall, and I'll watch the second half for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun departure from what they normally do, which is, review movies more capably than we can. And then I also got 2 new records this week that I'm very, very excited about both. One is a Bad Moves record that just came out. Wearing Out the Refrain is the title of this album. Bad Moves are a band local to DC, but who are big in the DIY punk world, and very Jeff Rosenstock adjacent, who's my favorite musician and one of yours, I think, as well, Bob. Not to speak for you, but
you can do that.
Yeah, but I happened, Beck and I, because they're local, they put out a cattle call for some for a music video for one of these songs that they put out. And Beck and I, my spouse Beck, went and recorded that, and Beck made the cut in the final cut. I really didn't, for the most part.
There's
and I'm
a
not
flash.
bitter. Nothing
you get a little Randy flash.
I got a flash. I'm very famous now, of course. And anyway, all that set aside, though, it's a very, very fun poppy as fuck punk record. Or it's DIY punk, but like very, very accessible and poppy and fun. Recommended. I think it's a good evolution of their sound, honestly. I think they've shown some depth here that they didn't necessarily show before. Nice. And then last but not least, my newest favorite musician is this guy, or this group really, but led by this guy called Ginger Root is the name of the endeavor. And it's sort of also a multimedia thing that's very like based around like Japanese city pop kind of sound and that sort of thing, which I was not familiar with until I saw these. But it's just catchy, bubbly ass, fun fucking music, and like badass like CTR screen, like Japanese coded music videos that form like a storyline. And I'm so pissed I'm not going to be able to see him live when he comes to DC like 2 days after I take my trip coming up. But he came out with a new album called Shinbangumi. And I already love several of the songs because he's released them in advance as music videos, or they've released them in advance as music videos. I'm very fucking into this album, very into this guy's music, into this sound. I just hope I don't wear myself out on it, but I'm trying to take measures to not overdo it. It's a great album so far for me. I've only spun it like one and a half times with any sort of intention of like sitting down and listening. But I just like it. I like it a lot. Listen to Ginger Root, man. It's good shit. It's good shit. Watch the music videos too. They're half the fun. Yeah, that's it for me. I think I stretched that long enough. What do you think?
Bravo. Well done. I've been watching a handful of things here. I recently revisited Contagion, and I hadn't seen that since it came out in the theater. And watching it before COVID and then after COVID is a very different experience, I think. And man, that movie was like very prescient. It just like almost every single step that movie laid out, just absolutely we got to live through when COVID hit. Not to the exact same level that movie goes to. It's a much more lethal virus that breaks out in the movie. And the ending of it is obviously not very lifelike. But man, like the way it's all politicized and I don't know. It was just very, very on the nose, having lived through a situation somewhat similar to the events of the movie. It's also like just pretty unforgiving, like it right out the gate, man. It's just a brutal ass movie. Have you guys seen Contagion?
Yeah,
I think I'm getting a couple movies mixed together. So I probably.
Yeah, this is the one with Matt Damon, right?
Oh yes, I have. Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. And yeah, I liked it a lot then. And I remember when lockdowns started, it had just hit Netflix, and it was like the number one movie for like 2 weeks until Tiger King came along and became the distraction of choice.
Yeah, it's good,
and I couldn't watch it then.
It's definitely a good movie, but yeah, it's sort of like surreal watching it now.
Bob, if you like that movie, there's a show on Netflix called Station 11, and you should watch the first episode. All you need is the first episode because it runs parallel to that. It's really good.
Nice.
I haven't heard of that.
So yeah, I recommend Contagion. I also watched Wolf Creek for the first time recently. And this is a slasher movie from the early 2000s. I forget exactly what year. And it's based on a allegedly real-life Australian serial killer. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's... I think there's 3 of them now, or the third one's about to come out, so it's now a franchise. And it's okay. It's a little like, the early 2000s horror vibe was very like, gritty in quotation marks, and like torture porn-y. This wasn't... I don't know if I'd really call this like torture porn, but it kind of feels like it, even though it might not totally go there.
Like hyper yellow filter.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it has that blue filter over everything.
Yeah, and it's just like grainy, and it does some interesting things specifically towards the end that sort of like break the mold. But according to like the blurb that they put up at the very end of the movie, the dude that allegedly committed all these murders like is still like out there living his life in Australia. Like they didn't have, I guess, enough concrete evidence to convict. And like he just is out there living his life. So it's, I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of a, I did no like actual research after watching it. So like, I don't know if things have changed since this movie came out, but that's all I know about it really. It's an okay slasher. I'd maybe give it a loose recommend if you're just really, really into that kind of thing. But I guess it's based on somewhat of a true story, which is kind of fucked up. Also, I watched a newer release called Frankie Frico, and this is going to be released in theaters, limited, I believe, in early October. So at the time of you listening to this, you might be able to rent it if you want to on VOD. I assume you probably can. And this is the latest from the director that did Psycho Goreman a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Very practical effects heavy, like rubber creatures. It's got that vibe, and it's about this dude.
Freddy Freaker!
Yeah, who he did that, right? He did that Freddy Freaker short. We found out.
No.
Oh, he did not.
No, that's a real thing.
That's real. Okay.
Yes,
I did not.
Freddy
know
Freaker's
that.
real. This is based on that, pretty obviously.
Okay, I thought Freddy Freaker was like somebody doing, like in homage to Goofy, like 900 numbers.
No,
I didn't realize that was
did that
real.
itself.
God damn.
Yeah, it's real, and it's still. I think I looked up what actually you were to die. Like, it's very obscure. That video is like, or that commercial is like, telling you to call in and see what's scamming from East Coast to LA or some shit.
Yeah,
but it doesn't tell you what you're actually buying when you get on the phone with Freddy Freaker. So I think I looked up what it was once, but I don't remember, and I think that's how I'm going to keep it. The mystery of what it was like something very, very stupid. But it was just like some way to basically to like, I think, con children into calling in this number and spending a bunch of money on their parents' dime.
Hell yeah. Looking at you, Amazon. You're the new Freddy Freaker right now.
You are the new Freddy Freaker.
So,
fucking Jeff Bezos is a Freddy Freaker.
Yeah. Frankie Frico is about this dude who is very, very square, and it takes place in like the early 90s, maybe mid 90s. He's got an office job. His wife leaves for the weekend, and he's going to let loose, and he orders a pizza and stays up till like 9 o'clock at night, and that's a really wild Friday for him. And then he keeps seeing this commercial on the TV for Frankie Frico, not Freddy Freaker, to call in to, party. If you want to party, you want to party it up. He's tired of being square.
Orgy.
He calls, and it's an instant orgy. But no, these 3 like rubber puppets show up at his house, immediately trash it. There's like graffiti everywhere.
Ghoulies thing, then? I didn't know there were 3 of them.
Kind of like ghoulies, I guess you could say. Sort of. I don't know. And they kind of like really wreck his shit. And things, we eventually like go to their world and see Freako Land or whatever. And I don't know. It's okay. I don't think it necessarily reaches the heights of Psycho Goreman, and I don't know that I necessarily love Psycho Goreman either, but this felt very flat to me. It was not super funny, and the effects were just okay. I feel like the effects really shine in Psycho Goreman. They're still sort of like you can see the strings, but like it's very charming in whatever it is that they're putting on screen, and like I really dig that vibe. It's got like a Power Rangers kind of vibe. This doesn't feel as charming. It feels maybe a little more forced. I don't know. It just doesn't land right for me, anyways. It's okay.
That's disappointing to hear. I'm a little excited to watch this thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But,
just my
and
opinion.
I did like Psycho Goreman pretty good, so I think I probably liked it more than you.
Yeah, I think so.
Did we review that one? I can't remember.
I think we might have done a mini cast on it, but I don't think we did like a big show on it.
That sounds right. Yeah. So I don't think we've actually talked about it, but that's a movie that I was like, it was a very nice surprise, that movie to me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
I enjoy that kind of humor. Like that's a good base level humor for me.
When I just love that people are committing themselves to making the kind of movies like a Ghoulies or like whatever. Like that's one of the reasons I liked that Onyx the Onyx,
Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
Yeah, I liked that for the same kind of reasons. They kind of hit that same vibe of like rubber puppets moistened with something.
Have y'all seen the movie Bad Milo?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, like
Rob, you've seen it?
Yeah, like little rubber puppet. Yeah.
Little butthole creature.
little ass demon. Little turd devil.
Yeah. It's your nickname
Little
in high school,
Turd
Matt.
Devil.
I'm the Turd
I
Devil.
have many nicknames.
They call me the Little Turd Devil.
The butthole demon, Matt.
Did you go while we're picking our own nicknames?
Yeah, why not?
You can call me the butthole demon.
Oh man.
That's all I've been watching, though. Bob
Put yourself in the fucking
Butthole
prayer
Demon.
book at church as Butthole Demon.
Butthole. Say a prayer for the butthole demon.
Hallelujah.
That's all I've been watching. I got a little bit of news here. Let's talk some horror news.
Extra, read all about it.
All right, boys. I tried to pick some news stories that would still be relevant in November, but we'll see. So, something that was recently announced is the Creep tapes. So, the Creep franchise, I guess you can call it now, the Creep and Creep 2 movies.
Your favorite.
Yeah, that I famously love quite a lot, is now getting a series that's going to be released on Shudder, I believe the end of October. So you guys may be watching it still at the time of you listening to this. I think it's 8 episodes, and they're going to be released, I think, weekly. And each tape, I guess, is going to be like a different murder from what I gather. And I don't know.
Is Mark Duplass in all of them?
I think so. As the Creep, I think he's going to be killing all the folks.
I don't like it.
You don't? Really? I'm actually a little surprised that you don't like it.
I was on board with the first one, the second one. Like they weren't my favorite things in the world, but I liked them, and I liked his performance in them or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know how many repeat performances I need out of that franchise. Like I would be, if they made Creep 3, I'd be like, okay, sure. But a bunch of shorts, but I don't know, man. That seems like they're stretching it pretty thin. Is my concern.
So this is November 15th is when this hits Shudder, actually. So I stand corrected there. Matt, have you seen the Creep movies?
I don't believe I have.
Right on.
All right.
Well, I don't recommend the first one. I actually kind of like the second one better.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's
Like Critters?
like yeah. I haven't seen Critters 2. Or I don't think I've seen any Critters actually.
What?
I know.
Fucking idiot.
I thought I knew you, man. Jeez. But I'm a bit of a critter nut, I assumed.
I am a critter nut.
I'm a step stranger. I really didn't like the protagonist in the first movie. I thought everything he did was so fucking stupid that like I couldn't believe anything, and like it just made it not very scary. The second one I think worked better for me. I like the protagonist better. I don't know why necessarily. I haven't seen him in a while. And this I definitely don't need like 8 episodes of. I'm not into it. Maybe I'll watch the first one and see how it hits, but Not for me, really. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You got
I don't
more.
know, it just to me, it just sounds very, very like pretty thin. And I don't know that I would like it any better if it was like Mark Duplass not in all of them. Just like I don't know if like it requires an anthology series either, but at least that would open things up a little bit. I don't know if I need to see this guy's every tape because it feels like he does. I don't know how they can make it fresh every time. Make it seem like a different story every time.
Yeah. What if he hangs dong in every single episode? Would that do anything for you?
Oh my god!
That's extra half star, I believe.
Extra half star. You're right, Matt. Thank you. Quick math. Well, Creep Tapes
Quick math.
on Shudder now. If you'd like to check it out, go ahead and do it. Did you guys see that? So that Lee Winnell's got a Wolfman movie coming out in, I believe, January 2025. And I'm sure we'll be talking about that on this show. There was a teaser trailer that dropped. Did you guys see that?
No,
I have not. No.
I already know the story so well that like I don't think I need a trailer. I love the Universal and I love the remake with Anthony Hopkins. So like I'm gonna go see this movie no matter what. So like I dodged the trailer on purpose.
Is it a Universal property?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's the same guy that did Invisible Man, right?
He is. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Okay,
I think they're slow. I think they're under the covers trying to do their dark universe, and they're just trying to be quiet about it this time.
I think that's the way to like take your time, find filmmakers that have interesting ideas. You don't need to marvelize the shit because it's clearly didn't work. And yeah, I did watch the teaser. It really doesn't show you hardly anything other than like the setting and the very basic setup, which, spoiler alert, somebody gets bit by a werewolf,
They do what?
I know. It seems like it's on a farm. And
on the ass?
Bit in the ass by a werewolf.
I got bit in the ass by a werewolf. That's what the YouTube thumbnail for this episode is going to say.
And I liked it. Yeah, I'm stoked about it. I really liked his Invisible Man take and excited to see what he does here.
Yeah, me too, man. I really like that Invisible Man, and keep them separate. Gotta keep them separated.
You
as
gotta do
the
it.
voice of our generation once said.
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing someone turning into a werewolf asshole first, and it's blowing my mind.
Just
Like,
explodes into hair.
Jesus,
My ass is a werewolf. It's out of control.
We managed to stop the transition right at the ass. It's just a werewolf ass.
Gotta wear a silver butt plug.
God damn. Well, now
Matt, you might be onto something, dude. We need to write this now.
Look, Matt is a man of this world. He knows what he's talking about.
He knows his butt plugs. He knows them. Have you guys ever seen Wolf Cop? Wolf Cop 2 specifically?
Never
No,
have.
I know it exists. I want to see it. I just haven't yet.
You get wolf dick.
Oh, nice. Is it red like lipstick?
No. It's not.
No.
Sorry to disappoint? Question mark?
Oh man.
My whole life, I
That's,
always thought it'd be red.
I don't need to know more than that.
Wolfman coming out January 2025. Pretty stoked about it. What?
I got a bit of news I came across today, actually.
Okay, yeah,
So
go for it.
On Netflix, the same team that made the Jeffrey Dahmer show, they're making a new series about Ed Gein, and Charlie Hunnam's going to play Ed Gein. So
I don't understand. Didn't they get a lot of backlash on that show for some reason?
Not enough, man. Because the second season just dropped, and it's.
I'm sorry. There's a second season of.
Yeah, so it's called Monster, and then the subtitle is whatever the killers are. What? Do you know the second season, Matt? I'm blanking now.
The two brothers.
Brothers, yeah.
Kavinsky.
The Diaz brothers?
Yeah.
No, the Menendez.
They killed their
brothers?
parents, and then they wore sweaters to the trial.
Yeah,
to look young.
They wore
Menendez.
sweaters.
Mendes, yeah.
Yeah. So that's on Netflix, and Charlie Hunnam, I think, is one of the. From what I've seen him in, which I haven't seen him in Sons of Anarchy, it seems like people love him in that. He is like the flattest actor. He's so unenthused. And from what I know about Ed Gein, I have a hard time picturing him doing that.
Well, is As far as I know, a lot of the backlash for Dahmer was he had so many victims and their families are still around.
Right.
But Ed, as far as I know, Ed Gein only killed one person, and this was like back in the 40s. He robbed a lot of graves.
Yeah. Okay.
But he only killed one person, and so, and I mean, like that lady. I mean, her kids are probably dead now. So I don't know how they fish or swim through that legally, or who they have to notify or whatever. But I know he didn't have a bunch of victims, and from the 80s, it's one victim from the 30s. So like I imagine that changes the atmosphere quite a bit.
I guess if that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know about the need for this type of television show just in general, no matter if people are alive or not. Like the true
Somebody's
crime,
watching it.
I know, yeah, people are watching it, but it's like purely for entertainment, and like these people really murdered folks. Like, it's just there's enough true crime shit out there for you to watch.
Yeah, I feel bad about it for myself because like I think the real problem is like the popularity, because like I've read books about all these people and it never bothered me to go buy the book and read the book. But when it goes on Netflix and it gets super popular and everyone starts talking about it, then it feels like someone's getting like they're taking advantage of somebody. And I don't know what the actual difference is besides just the way I'm viewing it.
I think there's a difference. I mean, if you're talking about there's definitely a difference between like a documentary about a situation and a dramatization. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Inherently, there is a significant difference between those things. Like a documentary at its best is just relaying the information, and it can be a fascinating tale. And if it's done responsibly, it's the best. It's great. But if they can also be exploitative. I think it's inherently more exploitative to turn it into a dramatized thing, especially when it is somebody that's like still around, or their victims are still around or whatever. I can understand that being a lot more sensitive. Especially it's and also you're right, like it being on Netflix and become like it's a memification of death, and that's not a great thing you really want to be associated with, or that I want to be associated with.
I can see that, like where there's a big difference between stating the fact, like if you're the victim, stating the fact that you were attacked, opposed to writing up a drama around a scene around it where people seem are going through what you're going through and making you relive it and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's just romanticizing, you know what I mean? And documentaries can do that too. There's a lot of more dog shit documentaries than there are good ones by far, but at least like the very premise of them is to tell the story as it happened and to give it a proper and respectful frame of reference, or the way that you put it together, how you tell the story. That's where you get into the weeds of whether or not it's ethical. But like with a dramatization, inherently you are like stripping it down to artifice.
It has to be entertaining first and foremost.
Yeah.
Before it's accurate.
And you know what? Like, you're right, Bob. Like, I don't need the Ed Gein movie. I don't need the Menendez brothers movie. There's plenty of movies that are inspired by these people. Like fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, is inspired by Ed Gein. I don't know if I need more than that, even though it's like pretty far off. But if I want to learn about Ed Gein, I'll watch a documentary. I'll read a book.
It just seems
I probably won't read a book, but
difficult to palate. And just like, especially because it's going to be 8 hours, and you're just watching this like dramatic portrayal of these horrible, fucked up things that, I don't know, it just kind of freaks me out, man. I don't like it. So yeah, you can watch that if you want. It's coming out next year. There you go. Last thing I got here, there's a Street Trash remake.
Really?
Yeah, apparently the dude that made Fried Berry from 2 years ago. It was a Shudder original. If you guys ever watched Fried Berry, it feels a lot like Street Trash. People in the street doing drugs and just very splat stick. Severed body parts, blood and guts. Just all kinds of crazy melting things happening. It makes sense that he would be the guy to remake this movie. I don't particularly care for the original. But it might be fun. perhaps.
Fair enough. I haven't seen the original either. I'm just familiar with it by reputation. And yeah, I haven't seen Fried Berry either, but somehow that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It does kind of like aesthetically seem to make sense in my mind.
Yeah. Have you seen the original Street Trash, Matt?
I have not.
It's a little gross. It's a little I don't know. It's not really for me. Some people love it. There is notably one scene where people play catch with a severed penis. It's kind of hard to forget that. But it's all right.
Nice.
And that's just a Thursday night in Jacksonville. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's just good country living.
country living.
In this house.
We just got a barrel full of dicks we toss around.
Barrel full. I've seen a barrel full of pickles in my day.
So that's getting its premiere in Los Angeles on October 17th. So maybe that'll be on VOD at the time of you listening to this. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that's going to be in theaters. Maybe it'll go to Shudder since actually no, it's going to go to Screambox because this is a bloody, disgusting joint. So that's definitely going to be on Screambox. So keep your eyes peeled for that Street Trash on Screambox. There you go. That's some news there. That's all I got. We got no voicemails. If you guys are listening, would like to call in and leave one for next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. Let us know about your Thanksgiving plans. What are they?
Mm-hmm.
How did they go? Was it miserable? Was everything okay?
Are you all right? Is the question we should be asking after the election cycles.
How are you?
Did Eli Roth cover you in butter and put parsnip between your toes? That's what I want to know.
Now that is good country living.
This is a man who needs to know about your toes. So better call in.
What's in
Mine's still
between
oiled
them?
up.
Tell me what's between your toes.
What are you What are you doing with your toes? What are you doing with them?
You care if I put a quarter in there? Will that bother you?
You got mac and cheese toes.
Okay.
Candy
Rob,
yams.
taking it way too far.
I'm normal.
Besmirching the mac and cheese.
Yeah, squish
Don't
it.
treat mac and cheese that way, Bob.
Squish
That's
it.
just a sinful thing.
Like grapes. Yeah, hit us up, 904-638-3231. Hope you guys are doing well. Matt, again, thank you so much for sitting in with us. Love having you on, dude.
Man, I had a blast. It's great. It's great to be able to talk back to y'all. Like
Instead of just screaming at the wall.
Yak.
You idiots! You fucking idiots!
You imbeciles. What the fuck?
Check out Swords of Stereo and hit Matt up if you want to learn how to kill folks with swords. It's a lot of fun.
and
That's illegal, right?
Yeah, it's a felony.
It's a felony.
Yes.
Wow.
And yeah, if you're a fan, you should reach out to these guys and join the Slack. The Slack community is amazing. It's what's going to get me through the holidays is knowing that there are stable-minded people in my phone that will listen to me. So yeah,
Well, let's not
if you're
go
a fan,
that
reach
far.
out.
Stable-minded is a promise we can't keep.
I do live in your phone, but yeah, we're very unstable. We'll be back next week with another show. We have currently slated the winner of the November poll, and that probably won't change. So whatever won that is what we're going to be talking about. Watch that wherever it's available and get ready for next week's show.
Yes.
Yeah. Until then, we're on all the socials. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast. If you do want to join the Slack channel, hit us up on one of the social media outlets and let us know, and I'll send you a link so that you can join. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
I will eat your ass.